This is Tom with another daily walk from ourwalkinchrist.com. So today I want to talk about consider your influences. So in considering your influences, what do I mean? I mean to watch out what goes into our hearts, what goes into our minds. Obviously, we know the friend connection. The one proverb says, bad company corrupts good character. So that's certainly a worthy proverb. Another one from Psalm 101, I want to say it's 101 verse 2, 101 verse 3, one of those two there. And it says, I will set no worthless things before my eyes. And so we have that one to consider. Paul tells us in Romans 12, to transform yourselves by the renewing of your mind, or be transformed by the renewing of your mind, depending on your translation. And in that, we are told by Paul there to consider what we put into our mind as that transformative process. So transform yourself by the renewing of your mind means to watch out for your influences. Watch out for your media influences. Watch out for your news influence. Watch out for your entertainment influences. All of these things can deeply impact us. So with that, certainly I want to talk about news. I want to talk about music, movies, things like that. So when it comes to news, I found out a long time ago that if the world's going to end, someone's going to tell me about it. A lot of what we see on news, whether you like CNN or whether you like Fox or something in between, very few news channels are so completely unbiased or so completely true in what they say. Most of them are simply out for ratings. Who gets the more ratings? Well, whoever has the more shocking story. Of course, this is the entire emphasis between all of the stuff you see on Facebook with, articles that are actually called clickbait. Clickbait is when you click on an article that looks really fascinating, even has a somewhat inspirational or odd or controversial picture. You click on it and all you have is a 17 bajillion ads in a tiny little line of text where you got to keep on clicking the arrow over and over and over. Well, what's happening there, my web developer's coming out in me, what's happening there is the guy has ad scripts on his site, and the more people visit the site and the longer they're there, the more money you get paid for distributing that ad on your site. And so they produce these clickbait articles that are just all about how many times can somebody click on the thing. And so with that being said, the full reality, a lot of news channels, news articles, and articles on the internet are out there kind of sensationalism. They're out there just to get people to look at it exclusively to get the ads, the ad revenue. They're not necessarily out trying to teach or push or promote anything other than displaying hundreds of thousands of ads onto your computer and probably infecting your computer with a virus, really. So that being said, with the news influence, if the world's going to end, someone's going to tell you about it. You're going to hear about it. I wouldn't spend a whole ton of time watching the news. A lot of it's just a lot of negative stuff. Gets you riled up. It gets you mad, gets you angry. And God's really a God of peace, We don't want to be so totally ignorant of everything in the world, but we can gather those glimpses without spending a lot of time on the news networks, because the news networks, in reality, they usually just make us mad. That's kind of the bottom line of it. As far as the rest of entertainment, so if you're considering what you watch on television, so in this I'll consider television, movies, YouTube videos, anything that you engage in that multimedia where you're hearing it, you're seeing it simultaneously. If you're watching a whole lot of things with a lot of violent lyrics, particularly the capricious violence, you're watching that kind of stuff, it's going to negatively impact you. It really will. You're watching a lot of things with a lot of immoral sexuality, a lot of vulgarity. Those things are going to start to impact you. They're going to start getting into your heart and into your mind, and you're going to actually start being changed by those things. And so when Paul says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, what he's really saying is, hey, watch out for those influences that you allow into your mind. Because if those influences that you allow into your mind are bad influences, it's going to have a bad general outcome in your life. And the same thing goes for music. So with the music we listen to, we want to listen to music which has, generally decent, positive, uplifting points and messages behind them. And that brings another point. Don't just be entertained blindly. Think about what the entertainment is that you're putting into your head. If you're watching movies that are exclusively about immoral sexuality, what do you think the outcome's going to be? We can't sit here as Christians and get a kick out of movies like Hangover or Knocked Up. They're absolutely godless crap, poverty-ridden films in full reality. Now, some films have a really good moral lessons to teach behind them. Some of these are a little bit more controversial. I obviously would not let my kids watch a movie like Boys in the Hood, but I might watch it every now and again for the value of, yeah, that is a struggle, living in that lifestyle and thinking about how to survive in that lifestyle. That really is a struggle, and that's really what that movie's about. And there's a lot of movies out there like that, but the movies, the music, the news, really what you should be looking at is considering what is the message that the producer and the creator of that art wants to tell you. And with that being said, you just want to watch out for what you're putting in. It's not like we definitely don't want to fall over into the mix where we're only engaging in Christian forms of culture. Did you know, for example, there is a Christian version of Guitar Hero? It exists. And I can just imagine, oh, Guitar Hero, my kids want to play Guitar Hero, but look at all of those evil songs. And so we got to get the Christian form, because Lord forbid my child sees anything except Christian movies and Christian music. Not that I think that those are entirely bad, but unfortunately I think what has happened is we in Christianity have produced this subculture that separates itself so far from the world. The world looks at it and laughs. And not as much now, but when this culture was first beginning, the quality of the products coming out in that culture were actually quite inferior. So if you liked playing video games for the wow factor, you were not going to like Christian video games. If you wanted to watch a Christian television show or a Christian movie, you were not going to be pleased with the results that you saw. It just was not going to happen. It's just horrible. And we don't need to separate ourselves so far to the point where we can no longer relate to the culture around us, because we have to relate to the culture around us. But as we are relating to the culture around us, we have to be very careful about the influences that we allow inside of our hearts and inside of our minds. So all that being said, you really want to watch the influences that go in. Remember what Paul says, transform yourself by the renewing of your mind. Only then can you tell what God's purpose is, what his will is for your life. This has been Tom with A Daily Walk, ourwalkinchrist.com.